Hey, good afternoon. It's about 12:32 p.m. on September the 9th, 2023. Welcome to Mike 4100. I'm in between a meeting. All right, just got about a few minutes, not long. I try to come back on later for an hour. We thank God for everybody. I am in full recovery. As you can see, more is moving. God's restoring. Thank God for Jesus. Thank God for Tri-State Medical. Thank you, Dr. Alex. Thank you, Dr. Steve. Thank you, Dr. Mark. Thank you for partnering with our Supermite holistic approach. God will heal you the way He wants to heal you. God will heal you. Healing is His will, but also healing is His way. So God also gives you a way. He wants His will to be done. Okay, that's important to get that. So let me just continue to share some stuff I started this morning, and I'll be doing this off and on all day. And I gave you this thing, and I want you to get this. Mike 4100 is posting too. Don't answer everybody's questions. Answer the right questions. Don't answer everybody's questions. Answer the right questions. And when I say don't answer everybody's questions, I don't even say I'm not answering that. That's too obvious. Play the game. Learn who to play the game with. Never answer direct questions unless they are really direct questions. Because sometimes people probe you for questions, not that they want the answers that they're asking. They're trying to find out where you at. They're trying to locate you. They're trying to see what you're thinking. And I learned sometimes the best response is a no response. I've learned that there are times you have to do stuff like this. I don't know. Talk to somebody else. I have no idea. What do you think? Really? Okay. That's what he told you about me? I said, okay. See how I did that? See how I did that? God bless you, Shanty. Forget y'all. Just hold on, everybody. Whole lot going on. Love the Barefoot family. Hold on, my daughter. Love you. I'm getting to y'all, okay? Just hold on. Bunch of stuff going on. Love you. So it's important to understand if you play the game right, you will learn to respond to questions that are real questions, not politically motivated, manipulative. I've been talking lately about why would you ask me a question and then try to manipulate the answer? God bless you, Pastor Nelson. Why do folk do that? Why would they ask me a question and then turn around and tell me how to answer it? Like, what kind of dumb stuff is that? You know? And my thing is, you gonna ask you the question, and then when I give you the answer, you're gonna be like, that's not the answer. That's not my question. Why the heck you ask me the question? Some dumb stuff. Why would you ask me the question and then tell me how to answer it? And then when I tell you, I'm trying to tell you how I would answer, you're going to tell me the answer. And my question would be, why the heck you even come to me? That's why, I don't know why we feel so obligated, Pastor Nelson and Bearfield, to always answer everybody's questions. These questions, let them talk themselves. Yeah, I'm like saying, really? John 9 is one of the most political chapters in the whole Bible, man. John 9, John 10, those are two political chapters that teaches us we're not obligated to answer everybody's questions. In John 9, right, this is crazy. If you go to John 9 verse 6, after this, he spat on the ground, made some mud with his saliva, hog spit, right? And smeared it on the man's face and eyes. NIV said eyes. Then he smeared over his face. Then he told this blind man, born blind, Shanty, now go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. So the man went and washed and came back to his neighborhood seeing. All right, now I want you to, now call this posting to This is Mike 4100. Here's the question. Here's my message. Stop answering everybody's questions. Answer the right questions. This is how the game is played. I'm gonna help y'all out. Don't feel obligated to answer everybody's questions. Sometimes a question needs to be answered by a question. And sometimes questioning questions creates conversation. Don't be like everybody in America that just answer flatly. If you ever watch Jesus move and operate, very rarely does he answer a question straight up. Jesus is funny, man. He always knew why you would ask the question and who was around while you were asking it. And he would answer the question as if he's answering what's in someone's head that's standing behind you while you were asking the question. Crazy. This Bible will have you blown away if we were to read it and study it like we are supposed to. And I learned some stuff about human psychology. Don't feel obligated to answer everybody's questions. Here's some stuff I practice. I want to train KOM. Stuff like, I don't know. Oh, why you ask me that? What's the purpose of that? What's your name? Nice to meet you, man. What's the purpose? Why you ask me that question? And why you asking me here? Well, how you doing today, Rev? I said, how you doing? What you plan on doing today, Rev? What you plan on doing today? You know, Rev, I heard AB. One thing was talking. I just said, really? You got nothing to say about that? I said, no, not really. See that? See, okay, have a good day. I said, you have a good day. See that? That's how you suck the energy out the room. Stop feeling obligated to answer everybody's questions and the gossip they heard. They don't like you. They come tell you. And folks always carry back bad news to you. You kind of figure out why they always feel like they feel comfortable to tell you all the bad news. Maybe you're a gossiper by how you hear stuff. Why they always feel comfortable telling you all the bad news? There's very rare people that give me gossip. I really don't. People don't walk up and start talking bad about people because I just check on it. Hold on, wait a minute. Before you say that about that pastor, let me get him on the phone. And then you tell me that, we could do it all together. It's amazing to me. You can peep people's cards if you listen to what I'm trying to train and show you. John chapter 9 is crazy, right? God, Jesus, God smears the stuff on his face. And it says the man came back to his neighborhood seeing. And look at verse 8 of chapter 9 says, his neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging says, isn't that the same man who used to sit and beg? Some claim that he was. Others says, no, it only looks like him. And then the man said, I am that man. Remind me of Will Smith, I am. He's I am that man. Now, let me just park my car here for a few minutes, Michelle and Shanti. This is very deep to get this, the juice in ministry, get this MT. It's funny, right? These folks are having a conversation debating whether or not he's that blind man that can now see. And in the middle of them complaining and fussing, he just says, I am that man. I'm him. You know why I like him? Because he's not loud. You know why I like him? He's not passing out leaflets and flyers. I was healed. I was born blind. Brother James and Michelle Shanti, if we operate like this, man, we'd be so smooth. We'd be like Denzel Washington on the Equalizer movie. Nobody will ever see you coming. It's just so smooth with it. You're so confident that God will open the door. You don't have to go around just screaming and hollering. It's like he was blind, right? He walks across the town to like the Passaic River, to a real dirty, nasty river. He gets in the water, and he comes out seeing. This guy never seen before. He was born blind, and over 40 years remained blind. And here, what you don't understand when it comes to Jewish tradition and understanding Jewish backdrop, it was spoken that the Messiah, when he comes, will open the eyes of people who were born blind. This is an unusual confirmation. And the rumor of the day, and please get me everybody, I'm trying to teach this. The rumor of the day is, don't give this guy Jesus any credit, because he is a fictitious Messiah. He's fake, he's phony. But every time they said Jesus was fake or phony, he kept doing all these unusual messianic signs and wonders. And according to Old Testament writings, he was doing stuff to prove, Cornell, he was the Messiah. So every time you say he was not the Messiah, he would do a miracle to make sure that he was. You know, like tell storms to shut up, walk on water, tell diseases to go away, raise a 12-year-old from the dead, you know, touch my clothes, be made whole, heal people who are born blind, read people's minds, tell the woman at the well that she's not well, I can make you well, read her like a book, peep her card, better than an ESP worker, better than zodiac signs, better than... He would do so much effectiveness. He did less talking and he moved more efficiently. And when you get to John 9, you got to understand John, the writer, man, he don't write like Matthew, Mark, or Luke. He writes as if he has an insight into divinity. John, the writer, writes as if he got eagle eye vision. You know, he speaks as this proves Christ's divinity. And he says in John 9, and I love it, they're arguing and fussing, you know, is that the blind guy? Now the way it's written, if you read John 9, verse 8, after he comes from baptizing himself in the water, he went back to his neighborhood. He went back to his community. And this is very important to get this point. You could be so effective and so efficient in what you do, you don't tell nobody what God is doing. You just keep living your life and folks will notice that your eyes are open. Watch this, everybody. Watch this, James. Watch this, Shanty. I want y'all to get this. God will purposely put you in front of people who used to see you blind. But then when God opens your eyes and does something for you, all of a sudden, their eyes get open. And they start saying stuff like this. Is that the guy that was been blind for 40 years? Is that the woman that was blind for 40 years? Is that the young lady that got married? Is that man got a new job now? He got a condo? How did he get healed? See, what God does, I want you to watch this, right? He's going to shut the mouths of people who've been dogging you out. Folks you thought that were so happy for you, but they would stab you in the back all the time long. And you didn't know because you're sweet and you trust everybody. And what God does, God's going to open your eyes around the folk who have been assuming that you're still blind. When the man, hear me closely, went into the pool of Shalom, which means sent one, he comes back transformed. And he doesn't go around on Facebook bragging, look what God did, look what God did. He just went back and just started doing normal stuff. Because when you see this in verse 8, his neighbors and those who formerly seen him begging, which means he's no longer begging, they start talking to each other. And they kept doing, you know how church folk are. Psst, psst, come here. Is that Brother Leroy? Is that Shaquisha? I thought she was a hoe and a prostitute. She got married? She got a family? Oh my God. Yo, I thought he was a crackhead. What? He got his own business. Oh my God. See, God want to shock people. He want folks to assume that although you was bound up for 40 years, God delivered you. And then God says, don't go around and tell folks you're delivered. Just go back to your community and start doing work. Now, when you start doing work they never thought you can do, and you start to live out your testimony, that's when folks start asking questions. And isn't it funny, before they ask you a question, they start talking to other people first. I'm telling you the game of ministry, man. Because if you look at John 9, verse 8, his neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, isn't this the same man? He used to sit and beg, and some folks said, nah, I don't think that's him. I don't think that. Others said, it only looks like him. So they're having this sidebar conversation. Watch how this happens to Michelle. And I love this guy's response. But he said, and he insisted, I am that man. Oh my God. I love his response. After he saw them talking and back and forth and questioning, he just stopped saying, by the way, I am that man. I was that guy that was born blind. Now, my question, and please get me James, and get me Michelle, get me Shandy. You got to watch it because there's a lot of wisdom to be learned here. I said to myself, right, if I was born blind, if I was born like Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles, and my neighborhood knew I was totally blind, the first thing when I came out the water I can see, I would have been screaming, I can see! I can see! Oh, I can see! I can see! I got I can see t-shirts, I got I can see jackets, I got I can see trophies, I got I can see committees, I put on an I can see step show, and I can see movie, and I can see play. President Chris will tell everybody, I can see, I can see, I can see. And you know what I like about this guy, Shanti and President Crystal? He don't do none of that. Know what he does, Crystal? He just went back to his neighborhood and started doing normal neighborhood stuff, like probably picking up garbage in front of his house, you know, brushing his teeth, walking outside, looking at the sun, and just the life they live in front of the people. They start saying, yo, listen, Leroy, Rashid, I was downtown, man, and I saw what's his name walking around normal. I mean, for 40 years, he was crazy. For 40 years, he was doing this. And for 40 years, he was a crackhead. And for 40 years, he was like this. And I saw them. He was doing normal stuff, man. He was playing baseball. He was playing basketball. That can't be this guy, man. He's been like this for 40 years. And they're holding this sidebar conversation with questions, right? Now, isn't it funny? They never ask him first. What they say, you better say it, Shanti. What they said was, psst, psst. They start talking to each other. You think that's him? You think that's the same guy? Now, here is the backdrop of the story, and please get this, everybody. What we don't learn is that the Bible, at this time, the storyline is Jesus is like a renegade. He's like that guy that's being chased. And the rumor is, don't give him any credit. And if you say that Jesus did any miracles, we're going to kick you out the Jewish fraternity. We're going to take your ATM card. We're going to take all your benefits. We're going to take all your grants, take all your support, and we're going to put the mark of the beast on you and get rid of you. Don't y'all ever, ever, ever give Jesus any credit. Don't y'all ever, ever, ever give him any credit. Don't y'all ever, ever. See, that's what the Bible teaches you when you read it in this holistic approach. So when you read John 9, you have to come into the story with something in your head, some assumptions. Why didn't they approach the man first and ask him? Because everybody's on high alert. See, everybody's on high alert. So they're not going to walk right up to him. They just start doing stuff like this. Yo. And this is what the Bible don't say. But you got to read between the lines. Yo, I think Jesus done did it again. Woo! He done bust a move again, Bernie Mac. He done bust a move again. He done did it again. So they start talking. What they're doing is, yo, how his eyes open, man? How his eyes open? Now, the back of their head is what they're saying. It's like, yo, Jesus done did it again. Every time they say he not who he say he is, he continues to show he is who he is. Do y'all know that is the political move, chapter 101? When everybody doubts you and everybody thinks that you're unsuccessful and because they quit and don't support you, keep living and stay faithful. God will allow them to see you prosper with your eyes open. And what they'll do is they can't walk up to you and say, you know what, I've been doubting you, I've been dogging you out, I don't support you, I got enough money to help you. What they do, they go to other people and they say, oops, Jesus done it again. They be like, oops, you sure you're Mike McDuffie? You building the Patterson's Past Workshop Clergy and Fire like that? You doing that Iron Initiative like that? Is he doing it like that? Is he building KOM like that? Really? Now, they don't walk up to you first. What they do is have conversations amongst themselves. When your enemy walk up to you to ask you questions, they already been to 10 other people. Let me tell you something. When people walk up to you out of the blue, and you be saying to yourself, why are you even holding a conversation with me? Because I know you don't even like me. I already know you can't stand me. I already know that you are secretly competing with me. So when they walk up to you, you got to always be 2 steps ahead of the game. That's why he that controls his anger can take a city. Because sometimes you want to curse folk out, but you don't do that. You got to play it smooth. That guy just says, no, I'm that guy. Look at me, everybody. Look, Shanty. Look at me, Michelle. Look at me, President. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that blind guy. He ain't screaming. He ain't hollering. He just real smooth. Yeah, I'm that guy. Right? Now, so they say to him, in verse 10, how then was your eyes open, they ask. How you got your eyes open? Now, what the Bible doesn't say is what they probably thinking. And this is why the Bible is sometimes written kind of strange, because it doesn't always come out and give you all the particulars and all the stuff you want to hear plainly, because God is not a flat writer. You have to know how people think, and you got to read between the bread. All right, so this is probably what they're thinking. This is my Holy Ghost imagination. Yo, that guy Jesus doing it again, man. He opening the eyes. Not only does he walk on water, he get folks up by the pool of Bethesda. This guy keep doing stuff. And every time the religious rules of the day say he not it, he keep doing it. The political party says this, the political party says that, and they said this, and they said, and every time they say it, he keep rising to the occasion. Yo. Who opened your eyes, man? All right, now watch. And he said, who opened your eyes? Look at verse 11. This is crazy, right? John 9:11. I can fall on the floor and laugh because I'm telling you, Shanty, I'm telling you, Michelle, I'm telling you, our president, if y'all don't get anything that I'm teaching you, you better get this. Don't answer everybody's questions. Learn to ignore, and sometimes be very professional. I don't know, man. I don't know. Do you know what they said about you? No. They're really not much interested. That's right. What's the name of support you? I said, really? I said, that's good. See? Very less said, but keep moving. This is smooth stuff, man. If you operate like this is real sexy too, man. It turn your wife on. It turn your husband on. I'm telling you. It'll turn your date on. When you learn not to get emotionally tied to anything everybody say, you just stay head straight and keep grinding. I'm telling you, man. Don't even try to explain to people. Just keep moving. And they said in verse 11, this is what he said. He replied, now who's he talking to? He's talking to people who is asking questions among themselves. They did not come to him first and ask him a question. He just saw them arguing or talking amongst each other, and he overheard them, and he did this number. Y'all need to talk to each other. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. That's basically. Now, what's the rumor of the day? Don't give Jesus any credit. So you got to know how to know the language of the day without saying it, because you're trying to keep your spot in the temple. You're not trying to lose your spot, right? But this guy in verse 11 comes out and makes a statement that if he really understood the Jewish backdrop, you already know he's about to get himself in trouble. Because here's a dangerous thing. Here's a dangerous thing about getting your eyes open. Your mouth follows. See, when your eyes open, your mouth comes second. See, some of you are in trouble because folks want you to stay blind, because you're more easy to manage and control with your eyes blind. Once your eyes become open, then soon comes your tongue. Because once you say something, it is so infused with truth and wisdom, it can't be handled. I mean, they can't buy you. They can't do it. You be like, I see you. I know you're a devil. Now, you don't say that. You don't come out and say it. You just look at people and say, what's up, man? What's up? And they always give you the praise the Lord. They always quote scriptures, right? I'm like, I just look, right? Don't always let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Y'all stop giving off your body language and your vibes, man. Sometimes, man, just look at people like, hey, what's up, man? And you say, God's been good to me, man. How about you, man? And you say, God's good, man. Now, when they say that to you, you already know they've been dogging you out, gossip about you. They don't support you. They don't like you. They're jealous of you. You already know that, right? So you go into the lion's den already knowing how to handle lions. I'm trying to tell you, man, if you learn anything I'm teaching, that you're going to learn how to do this, man, because this guy with his eyes open is on a whole nother page. Because once he got his eyes open in his heart, he already knew Jesus was the Christ. But he's not going to come out and say it until the time is right. And finally, when his mouth opens according to his eyes, they kick him out the temple. Look at verse 11. He replied, watch this. And this is the front. When I first read this, I was like, oh, God. The man they called Jesus. Thank you, Holy Ghost. The man they called Jesus. The man they called Pastor Mike. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading it wrong. I apologize. The man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. The man called Jesus told me to go to Shalom, and I washed. Look at me. He baptized, got in the water, washed his face. So I went and washed, and then I could see. Right? That is all he says. So verse 11 is a stated truth that comes out of his mouth after getting his eyes open. Long as his eyes are closed, his mouth is closed. And he's known as a beggar. Jesus is going to rehire him with a new job. Not hire, rehire. He's going to give him another job. You won't have to beg after this. Because once I open your eyes and you open your mouth, you go get your own job. You make your own money. All right? But I got to open your eyes first. And there is a particular way I want to open your eyes. I've been saying this over and over for the last couple of days. It isn't enough to do God's will. God's will needs to be done God's way. See, when you hear the word do God's will, that's why you hear it. But when you study it, when you say do God's will, it really means do God's will God's way. So when you do God's will God's way, it causes problems. Because once your eyes open, so does your mouth, and then your ankles and your feet receive strength, and you take a stand. And everybody can't punk you, they can't intimidate you, they can't buy you, they can't make you feel lonely, they cannot make those statements. Well, if you leave me, nobody else gonna want you. You know, if you don't marry me, no one's gonna want you. You'd be like, oh, shut up. Oh, go shut up. See, that's what sometimes you want to say. Oh, shut up. Get out of there. Go someplace. The man they called Jesus, see that? The man they called Jesus made some mud, put it on my eyes, and told me to go to Shalom and wash. So I went and washed and could see. Now I'm going to reinterpret John 9 verse 11 in the Michael McDuffie translation Bible, because I have a Bible too. I put things according to 21st century in the city of Patterson or Weehawken or in Bergen County or Passaic County. I'm going to put it in the Pattersonian Bible, right? And I'm going to read it the way I want it to be heard. All right, this is John 9 verse 11. And this is after this man who was born with eyes that don't work. He goes to this place called the Pool of Siloam. He baptizes, washes his face, wipes us, and he comes back seeing. He doesn't go out and tell everybody. He just goes back to his neighborhood and just takes on the form of a normal working citizen. And due to normal community behavior, people go to talking because his reputation is, I'm a beggar they cannot see. But I'm no longer that same guy. I'm no longer Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles. I am actually Steve Austin from the $6 Million Man. Dun, 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 dun. I can see better than anybody else, all right? And I haven't done this since I was born. And the whole community knows me because I've been like this since I was a child. So they walked me to class, and I had a stick, and I've been blind for over 40 years. But watch this. When I see this man's eyes open, every Jewish citizen is saying, now, how is he saying? How is he seeing? How is he seeing? According to the Jewish tradition, the only way he can see if the Jewish Messiah opened his eyes. So, by the way, is this Jesus doing the same old thing again? And he just cuts him right between the eye sockets. He says, verse 11, he says, you know the man named Jesus? Everybody keeps saying he's not the Messiah. He's fictitious. He's fake. He's corny. He ain't got it going on. He's not in the political clique. You know, that man told me to wash my face because he had spit on the ground and made mud. And he told me to walk across the city about 2 or 3 miles and go into Shalom and wash in Shalom. All right, whether he got in, he got baptized himself, I don't know. He said, but I did that, and I can see. Now, you know what that does? It leaves an unusual silence, because here's the catch-22. If I tell you what really happened, the cat's out the bag. I'll beat it. Kitty, I love you. Long as I'm blind, the cat is in the bag. As long as I'm blind, I can be manipulated and bought. But once my eyes open, and the miracle is a straight up bona fide miracle, you can't even deny it, man. It's too real. Is it all over my face? Yeah, it's all in your face. And the man mentions his name because there was also a rumor, don't even say his name. And the man said, the man called Jesus. The man called Jesus. That's why some of y'all don't listen to these folks to his name, not Jesus. Don't listen to these folks, man. His name is Jesus, Yeshua. If I go to a certain part of the country, they call me Menguel or Michael, same person. I'll get caught up in semantics. All that dumb arguing. The man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Shalom and wash. So I went and washed, and I can see. And they're gonna do this one. Where is this man? They ask him. You see that question? That's a political question. Because the question should be, oh my God, you can see. You can see. You can see. They don't give a rat's behind whether or not he can get his eyes. They're more concerned about, you sure you want to say Jesus over your eyes? Folks don't care if you are effective in ministry. They don't want you to get the credit. See, this is the game of our people, man. Everybody's not interested in deliverances and in unity and network. All folks want to know who getting the credit, you know, who gonna get the headlines, who the next Michael Jordan, who gonna make the most money. Folks don't care about ministry, man. These folks don't give a rat's behind whether or not, man, because if I can't see and I get my eyes, They should have said, well, glory to God. Glory be to God. God done took away your Bell's palsy. God done opened your eye. These Negroes, well, where is that man? Isn't that funny? Don't that bother you? Where is this man? And I like his response. He said, I don't know. I keep telling y'all, stop answering everybody's questions. And stop feeling obligated to be at everybody's beck and call. I'm tell you, Chanty, I'm tell you, Crystal, I'm tell y'all, Michelle and James, one thing I learned about ministry and church folk and church members and preachers, don't be guilt tripping me. Because I don't do guilt trip. All right? Because I don't at your beck and call. I don't do that. Because when I needed you, you weren't there for me. All right? No one cares about my family like I care about my family. And I'm telling you, sometimes in life, y'all gonna have to take some real selfish stance and say stuff like this. Today is me and my daughter today, and I'm spending time with Yaya. That's all I'm doing. I'm sorry, not doing anything else. Today is Shanti and Lamont's day. I'm not doing nothing else today. No, I'm not interested. No, Pastor Mike, well, my cat's in the tree. I said, better not be on Thursday because your cat will die in the tree. You're waiting for me to come rescue him on the Thursday. See, we feel obligated to do what everybody wants us to do. There's some questions, man, don't need to be answered, and there's some situations where like that's not. I don't do that, man. I'm not involved with that. That's not up to me. I got somebody else. This guy, man, don't get into all the questions. Well, where this man at? Where this man at? Now the question is a politically driven question. Let me tell you why I know that. Because why do you care where he is? God bless you, Maurice. Why do you care where he is? Unless in your head you're thinking something. You know what folks like do is instigate trouble. You ever, I don't know, growing up back in the day when I was growing up, some of you are much younger than I am. You know, I used to watch these kids have fights after school on School 21. And the kids be bumping up against each other, right? They'd be just talking. And some guy will pick a stick up off the ground and put us on his shoulder and say, this your mama, and knock it off. Say, oh my God, he said that stick was your mama. He knocked your mama off the cliff. Obviously, you go to fight. There's always somebody that's instigating stuff. You know, thank you, Yaya. It's always an instigator. And so this is what they doing. Yo, where the guy that opened your eyes? You know it was Jesus, man. Where he at? And what he does is, I'm not getting involved in your political game. He just says, I don't know. Which means I'm not concerned about his location because I got his allocation. He allocated me my eyes, and that's all I need. So I'm not getting caught in all your political mumbo jumbo. I'm here to do the job. I got my eyes, and I'm going back to my neighborhood and become a working and positive citizen. See? Which means I'm not going to look for him. Where this man at? Oh, by the way, let me go try to find him. I'm not looking for him. What I care for? Right? Now, watch verse 13. Watch this, everybody. Now, this is pretty cool because I don't know how we went from verse 12 to 13, but the Bible puts it there. Don't really explain it, but it says, they brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now, this is how these Jewish communities work in the first century. Everybody's closely knitted, right? So apparently somebody must know someone that knows somebody, and Pharisees mean that they top dog in the religious community, the Jewish world. And not all Pharisees, but there was a group that was planning and plotting to murder Jesus. And some of them were a part of the Sanhedrin Council. And they brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Notice the term, Reverend Maurice, been blind, past tense. Now watch this. You gotta watch the Bible, man. It'll throw a curve on you. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was on the Sabbath. God bless you, Shelly Rodriguez, my little daughter. Verse 15. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. You catch me? All right? Which means now we're getting into religious arguments. We're getting muddled in issues. For me, as a blind man that can see for the first time, I don't give a rat's behind about all your traditions and all your religious stuff. I do know I was walking around with a cane begging for food, and now I got my eyes back, and now I'm working in my community. And y'all come and drag me into your political mess, right? Right? And it's just, and the funny thing is, when Jesus opened the man's eyes, it was purposely done on the Sabbath. And when you study the Bible, Shelley, when you study the Bible, Crystal, it really means the way you do the Sabbath. See, the way you do the Sabbath. Because in God's mind, Sabbath is not really a day, it's a person. Jesus is our real Sabbath. Stay with me. And the scripture says that when Jesus performed this miracle, it was done on the Sabbath. Now, here is the reputation of Jesus. And stay with me, everybody. Whenever something supernatural happens, especially in the Gospels, you'll find this statement. He did it on the Sabbath. All right. Now, this is John 9. Jesus did the same thing in John 5. So he is known as the Sabbath breaker. Stay with me, everybody. Stay with me. I want y'all to get this. He is known as the Sabbath breaker. Talk about a reputation. And some of these Sadducees and Pharisees, was focused on here, was staunched on what I call religious stiffness. It's the law, straight law, straight law. You know, when it comes to other people, of course, not to them. Straight law. Keep the Sabbath, keep the Sabbath, keep the Sabbath, keep the Sabbath. You know, those folks remind me of people who would let someone drown in the pool because the sign says no swimming. And you see a 3-year-old dying, and you watch the sign and say, by the way, the law says no swimming. But the 3-year-old is drowning in the pool. Do we break the law and rescue the child? Or do we let the child die and say we keep the law? When you talk to church folks, especially folks who get in real dumb arguments over dumb issues, most folks I meet who get in religious arguments are bound by the law. They're not free enough to make any day out the week their Sabbath. Famous words of President Crystal, never forget this. All the days belong to God. Pick one. Now, you get in trouble with some folk with that. God bless you, Pastor Sarah. Some folks want to hear that. They all belong to God. Pick one. You want to make Monday your Sabbath? Fine. Tuesday, you want to make one day above others? Then fine. God is not in heaven holding his breath, whether it's on Saturday and Sunday. That's some stuff that we just do. We're trying to show you the principle. The principle is, I don't care what day it is and what hour it is. If somebody is blind and if I can get them healed, I ought to pray for them. If somebody falls down on the ground and they cry and they can't get up, I don't look up to see whether or not it's on Sunday to say I can't do work. That's some dumb stuff. And this is what folks do. They'd rather have you die to brag that they're spiritual versus saying, I helped this child out. For an example, if Shelley, who I know is an outreach for children, if someone came to her and say, I want to put my child in your program and there's no spots and there's no money, but the woman is desperate, I bet you Shelley would say, yo, I'm going to take care of the child. We'll work on the details later. Let's get the child in and help the child out, and we'll work through the paperwork later. See, which means she fulfills the law by operating in love. Some of you are so headstrong, you book, all law, no grace. That's not love. And it's only like that when it's on other people. If you need mercy and grace, all of a sudden you want all the stuff to bend in your direction. This is what the Pharisees was doing. And so when Jesus healed on the Sabbath, he was exposing their hypocrisy. I keep telling y'all, man, stop trying to answer everybody's questions. Stop feeling obligated to talk to everybody. Some folks, none of your daggone business. And I'm using daggone because I use another word, Shelley, you wouldn't think I would say. Some folks I just say, I'm not answering that. Why? Why you answer that question? Why? Why I got to explain it to you? Why should I feel obligated to answer that? Why? I mean, you're not close to me. I don't know you. That's my, I want to have a meeting with you. I said, why? You're not in my circle. I'll be looking at him and getting no tithes, no offerings. I don't even know you. Well, I don't even know you. Why don't you meet with you? Go someplace. Go sit down someplace. Come on, please. Gotta be crazy. Right? So when the Pharisees start asking this man questions, it's already game from the beginning. It's game from the beginning, right? If you look at verse 15, now, I'm sure why I tell you not to answer White's question. Look at verse 13. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was on the Sabbath. Look at verse 15. Therefore, the Pharisees also asked him how he received his sight. And look how the Bible puts it. And this is what he said. He's referring to Jesus, put mud on my eyes. The man replied, I washed, and now I see. Which means he don't go into all the details he told the first time. Notice how short the story gets, which means he already saying to himself, y'all stop playing with me. Y'all know who I am. This is a bona fide miracle. Don't come here trying to suppress the truth in me because you guys into some political mumbo jumbo. I'm not playing with y'all. This is what you feel in the background, Shelly. This is what you feel in the background. You gotta know how to read people. Y'all better learn this, man. Right? And verse 16, to me, has nothing to do with what the man said in verse 15. So I'll be saying, why was even verse 16 even mentioned? Because it says, some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. Look at the next verse. And others asked, see, others could be the Pharisees or folks in the Jewish crowd, how can a sinner perform such signs? So they were divided. Right? Now watch this. Then they turned again to the blind man. It's like the third time he's saying this story, right? What have you to say about him? It was your eyes he opened. The man replied, he is a prophet. Verse 18. They still did not believe they had been blind and have received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. Huh? Huh? You mean to tell me you that blind and you that blind that you're going to tell yourself that maybe you're not the guy that got his eyes? Maybe you wasn't a blind guy all this time. This is some crazy stuff. But you know what I learned, Reverend Maurice? You know what I learned, Shelley? That you can actually keep lying to yourself over and over, that you actually believe yourself. There's some psychological bull thinking here, man. There's some crazy stuff, right? This is some crazy stuff, right? We already know who this guy is. He's been in the community for over 40 years. And when the religious institutions doesn't get the answer that they want to manipulate, they start playing these other games. Because at the end of the day, they knew this was the man. What they're really doing, they're trying to get the blind guy to silence the credibility of Jesus. I don't want Pastor Sharon. I don't want you giving credit to Jesus. Since Jesus is not from our fraternity or our circle or from our group, don't you ever mention Jesus doing this miracle. Don't you ever give him credit. Don't you ever do that, because I want you to know he's a sinner. He doesn't come from our group. You know, he doesn't come from our fraternity. He doesn't come from our political party. He doesn't come. And I keep hearing the famous words of Bugs Bunny on the cartoon Yosemite Sam. Shut up. See, that's in my Bible. That's exactly what I'm thinking. You know? And this statement don't mean anything to you unless you understand Jewish history. The man replied, he is a prophet. Now, just that statement alone is a problem, because when you use the word prophet in the 21st century of America, you put them in the same category as ESP, root worker. But when you use the term prophet in a Jewish tradition, it's in the vicinity of a messiahship. That we're on to something here. This guy might be the Messiah. And so the brother is saying that this guy is a real prophet. He's not a fake, a fraud like some of y'all, right? That's why when you get to verse 18, I'm gonna say something here. When you look at verse 16, 17, and 18, all right, it is a sign of trying to divert the conversation. I don't want the focus to be on you getting your eyes. I want the focus to be on that Jesus is a Sabbath breaker. You know they do this in court, right? You know they do this sometimes when they trying to get at you in another direction. You do know a lot of time when folks be mad at you, a lot of times, they're not really mad at you about that. They're mad at you about something else. What they say to you is one thing. What they feel about you is another thing. You better get this game, man. The game is don't answer everybody's questions. Answer the right questions. And this blind guy in John 9 is my guy. He's my dude. Because I watched him grow in ministry as he's being talked about. This guy is in more trouble after getting his eyes than he was when he was blind. I keep telling y'all, folks love blind people. Because sometimes blind folks, not all, can be easily manipulated because they're lacking senses. And so when the man get his eyes open, the last thing they want to hear from him is Jesus open their eyes. So what I'm going to do, I am going to divert the argument, take it away from the miracle, and focus on, he's such a sinner, we don't even know who he is, this man is not from God, and he doesn't keep our Sabbath, and the man is like, he's a prophet, he spit on the ground, I went to the pool, I washed, and now I can see. That's quite simple to me. All right? Now, being that they're hard-headed and they're stubborn, they're actually operating in witchcraft now. So the spirit of sorcery is upon some of these Pharisees. So know what they do? They start wasting time, right? Because if we go to verse 18, this is John 9:18, Shelley. They still do not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. Now watch this game. Look at verse 19. Is this your son, they asked? Is this the one you say was born blind? How is it that he can see? Wait a minute. This is the famous fingers of Freddie G. He's in heaven. He's always do this. Can I say something? What does this have to do with the price of rice? What does this have to do with the price of rice? My thing is, why are you talking to my parents? Yo, dog, I'm a full-grown man. Why you ain't got my parents? See, there's a whole lot of stuff in the Bible, man. If you don't have a good rabbi and a good trainer and a good equipper, a bunch of preachers will miss this type of stuff. You got to know Jewish backdrop and Jewish background, all right? The game is, why are you over there? You ain't got my mama and my daddy? I'm a full-grown man. Because what they're trying to do is get the attention away from the miracle and put it on something else. So these questions they asking this man, they're not sincere questions. God bless you, Mr. J. They're not sincere questions. These are questions from people who want to manipulate the answers. You better get this stuff right? Right? And it says this. They said in verse 20, Watch how the parents answer. They political too, right? They said, now, we know that he is our son, the parents answered. And we know he was born blind. So don't tell me he wasn't blind, and don't tell me that he's not my son. But look at 21 and watch how this verse is written. But how we can see now, or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself. Now, that's funny, right? But really, look at verse 22. You got to add 22 to this. His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders who already had decided that if anyone who acknowledged that Jesus was the Messiah will be put out the church. Put out the synagogue, kicked out the political party, thrown out the group, kicked off the cheerleaders. Understand? Thrown off the team. See that? Let go from the club. See, this is all the problem of getting your eyes open. So here is the catch-22 the blind man is in. Could he just had his eyes open and don't say anything? Or was the neighborhood and the community pressure so strong he had to say something? So you're dealing with a close-knitted Jewish community, much different than the urban communities of the 21st century. This is first century. And so they got a certain type of fiber of close family connection. So he probably felt obligated. He had to say something to the Pharisees about who opened his eyes, which I think at first he's just trying to be real truthful. And this is how I feel the scripture. I know you guys don't like Jesus. I know y'all say he's fake and he's phony. I know I'm probably going to be in trouble for this. But yo guys, I think he's a prophet. You know, I was born blind. Y'all know I've been born blind. Y'all know I've been born blind. Y'all know I've been born blind. You know, when you do all this, you know, but I know that this guy popped my eyes open. Don't say that. Come. Don't give that guy no credit. He's a Sabbath breaker. He don't come from our club. He not in our political party. He not in our circle. Shut up. I don't even think he was blind. See how folk are, funny? So all of a sudden, I'm not that guy. So you go get my parents. Now, his parents, watch this, y'all. His parents did this, right? His parents said, and you see, sometimes you got to make these things. You got to have conversations within your own head about the story. I can imagine the mother and father walking up having this conversation. Oh my God, they came to God. I said, oh Lord. And they already knew that he had already got his eyes. I don't know how, but they knew. Yeah, that's our son. He was born blind. I can see. Now, what they fall short of is our son called us and told us Jesus opened his eyes. They ain't gonna say that because I ain't gonna lose my Jewish card. So what they do is, he's a full-grown man. Why y'all come ask him? He'll tell you, right? That's to keep them in the temple, right? Now, the funny thing is, they knew if they had said Jesus will open the eyes, they were thrown out the temple. So the answer that the parents give the Pharisees is a type of answer without answering. See that? See? That's why I teach many of you here on KOM, don't feel obligated to answer everybody's questions. Allow, God bless you, Dr. Lisa Brown, heart to heart. Allow sometimes folks to guess where you're coming from. Don't give everybody full information. I'm telling you, man, the game of life is sometimes dealing with people's psychological makeup. And you got to know sometimes how to give people just enough stuff, and that's it. I'm trying to tell you, man. The crazy thing is in verse 24, a second time they summoned the man, and that's in the NIV Bible. I don't know if that's in the Bible, but a second time, this is John 9, a second time, they summoned the man who had been blind. Now, what they're going to do, they're going to pepper up the answer. They're going to gaslight him and try to coach him and coax him into giving the answer they want. Come. Give glory to God by telling the truth. I already told you the truth. They said, we know this man is a sinner. Right? Now watch 25 goes to show, right, that this guy is getting bold, which means he probably is saying, I don't give a rat's behind. If you do throw me out, I'm going to tell you what the truth is, right? And he gives an answer which sounds sarcastic. 25, he replied, whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. But I tell you one thing, I used to be Stevie Wonder. Now I got eyesight like Jamie Summers. I used to be like Mr. Magoo. Now I got eyes like a hawk. Is that plain enough for some of you? Now, here's the problem with verse 24 and verse 25. The Pharisees were like the Italian mob. I mean, they had great clout in the Jewish community. So when they said, we know this man is a sinner, what he was supposed to do is say, oh yeah, he is a sinner. He don't do that. He says, whether he's a sinner or not, I don't really know. I don't want to debate that. But I do see. I do got my eyes. And can I tell you something? These eyes I have, I've been around some of you for over 40 years. Y'all never prayed for me. Y'all don't open my eyes. You never anointed me. So apparently he got some on him that y'all don't have. See, that is the problem with this one. Some folks don't want you to be effective. They don't want you to win. Because by you losing, it keeps them effective, so they think. So every time they say Jesus wasn't something, Jesus kept being it. See, that's something else when the enemies and all your foes throw everything at you and you keep rising to the occasion. See, that frustrates your enemy. They can't take that. All right? So I can't have you giving credence to the miracle, right? And he gives the statement in 25, like only going to 207. He says, whether he's a sinner or not, I don't know. But I tell you this, I was once blind, but now I see. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Now, verse 26 is where I can tell this stuff starts to turn, right? 26 is funny. Then they ask him, what did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? Now, when you get to verse 27, I'll call this the Minister J version because my wife could be very sarcastic, all right? And she'll say certain things at a certain point. Mike, don't ask me that question again. This is how she is, right? And this is where you get verse 27. He answered, I already told you. I keep telling y'all, stop answering every question. Only answer the ones that are right to answer. Don't feel obligated to tell everybody your business. Because everybody that's asking questions don't really want answers. They're probing your mind and probing your heart. All right? I'm trying to help you. And listen, I'm not talking to anybody specifically. So please don't inbox me, ask me, am I talking about you? If you're under conviction, that's up to you. I'm giving you a general word about, and this is part 2, posting 2 on this. Don't answer all questions. Only answer the right ones. You can save your job like this. You can get a raise like this. You can help people if you know how to operate. It takes discernment, right? It says, I already told you. Are you not listening? I was like, ooh, Maria. I was like, ooh, that sounds gangster. He said, I already told you. You not listening? Why? You want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too? Oh, by that time, boy, these Pharisees, they got smoke coming out their head, right? Because 28 is what happens when you correct somebody, right? This is what happened. Then they threw insults at him. They went from Pharisees to like some guys on the block. You are this fellow's disciple. Other words, your miracle is fake. You're just on his team. They're usually saying, you gaslighting Jesus. That's what they're saying. We are disciples of Moses. Now, you wouldn't know what that means unless you understand Jewish history. You had a certain set of Jews that believed that Moses was still the way to God, the law of Moses. And then there were Jews debating that Jesus says, I am the fulfillment of Moses' law. So you need to have me above Moses. See? And this was the split in the camp, right? And the funny thing is, Jesus would perform miracles that would confirm all the Old Testament Moses writings. So Jesus and Moses is not the one arguing. It's the fictitious, fake Jewish circle of Pharisees, some that are trying to plan and plot to murder Jesus. Y'all with me? Stay with me. Almost done. Kristen, let me know if I'm in an hour. Then they hurled insults at him. You are this fellow's disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses. But as for this fellow, we don't even know where he comes from. Now, verse 30, he about to get kicked out the church. There's always something that you will do after a while that will get you thrown out by political mumbo jumbles. All right. Verse 30. The man answered, now that is remarkable. You don't know where he comes from, yet he opened my eyes. Now, do you know what that statement means? Now, when you read that as an American citizen, as what I call normal church-going folk in America, Western civilization, that don't mean nothing to you. But if you had a rabbi in your church circle that can teach you Jewish history, you would know that if you call yourself a so-called Jewish leader, whether it's a Pharisee or whether it's a Sadducee, whether it's a scribe, you should have, oh my God, all right, I got to close. Oh my God, I got to close. You should have had enough of spiritual maturity and matriculation to know where Jesus comes from. Because the level of this miracle should demand that you know where he comes from. Because you said you are a Pharisee, you're a temple leader, you know. You're supposed to be disciples of Moses, and you don't know where the guy comes from, yet he opened my eyes. I expect you should know how to do this. You should already know how to operate at this level. And then he says, then he said, this the blind man can see, we know that God does not listen to sinners, at least at this level. He listens to godly people who does his will. 32, nobody has ever heard of the opening of the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he can do nothing. Do you know what he did? I'm closing this. I know I'm over time. I can't cut it here. Do you know what he just did, President? Do you know what he did, Maria? Know what he did, Dr. Lisa Brown? You know what he did? Know what he did? He is correcting the religious establishment. He is trying to correct the very segment of Pharisaical leadership who are planning and plotting to murder Jesus. And we cannot give credit to Jesus publicly because it will make us harder to kill him, because his reputation will grow more for this miracle. So we don't like it that your eyes got open. We don't like it that you're trying to correct us. Now watch this, right? Verse 34 is so funny, and I have to come and give you part 3 later. To this they replied, you were born in sin at birth. How dare you try to lecture us? And they threw him out of the Jewish complex. Not his mama, not his daddy. They knew he was James Jackson. They knew he was the Messiah. They didn't want the blind man to give Jesus credit, so I have to suppress the miracle. What they're trying to do is spoil his reputation. So finally, we start telling folks, Jesus opened my eyes. They'll say, well, the Pharisee says you fake too. See? It's all about spoiling your reputation. Verse 35, Jesus heard that the man had been thrown out, and when he found him, he says, do you believe in the Son of God, in the Son of Man, which is the title Jesus calls himself. Son of Man in Jewish traditions mean it's a man that is the Son of God. That's God in man form, Son of Man. God took on a man form, and he said, I am the Son of Man. He says, who is he? Verse 36, the man answered, tell me, so I may believe in him. And Jesus says, you have already seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you. He said, you have seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you. Right now, I'm him. Then the man said, Lord, I believe. And he worshiped him. I'm going to stop there. All right. Now, here is how I close this out, right? And I'm usually on more than an hour. President Chris will keep the broadcast down to an hour, but I went over. And here is the thing I want to close with, right? This is posting 2, part 2 on don't feel obligated to answer everybody's questions. Answer the right questions. And guess the question that Jesus says, do you believe in the Son of Man? See, that question needs to be answered. And the man said, well, tell me who he is. I'm the guy in front of you. You know who I am. I spit, and he says, you the man. And he falls down and he worships, which means that the Pharisees once again lost. The reputation of Jesus grows. And so the man who spoke the truth is kicked out of the Jewish complex. And when Jesus comes back to see the man who he opened his eyes, Jesus does not attempt to put him back in the religious structure of the day, because Jesus is the real temple. And the real temple is your spiritual relationship with the real temple, who is Christ Jesus, which is outside of the traditional model. I know I gave you a lot today. If you enjoyed this word, go and sow your seed today. $ Pastor Michael 7. PASTORMICHAEL 7. You can also go to the PayPal, which use my email address, supermite777@gmail.com. And you can inbox me for instructions on using Zelle, ZELLE. Maybe you tune in over the last few minutes. I've been on over an hour, and I gave you what God wanted. If you can see, my lip is getting more loose. See that? See that? My eyes. I'm being healed step by step. I'm following my therapist. Thank you, Tri-State Medical. Thank you, Dr. Alex, Dr. Steve, Dr. Mark. And, of course, we thank King Jesus. I'm exercising, praying, steaming, taking my Super Sea Moss, my NutriBurst. I'm doing my oils. I'm doing everything, and God is restoring me the way he wants it to be done. I don't panic. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. And many of you get to see the miracle right in front of your face, because you saw my face and it's being healed. I do facial exercises. I drop the chin, move it to the left. Close my eyes, open, smile. See? Every step. Because restoration taking place right along here, around this 7th nerve, up under my ear, right along my chin, being healed in Jesus' name. When you get your eyes open, your mouth follows, and your feet become strong. Do not feel obligated to answer everybody's questions. Sometimes a good season of silence is good. It's all right. It's all good. I got to go. Show your love, sow your seed. Let's not eat and not sow. All right? God bless you. $ Pastor Michael 7. God bless you. Thank you for watching Mike 4100. Posting to part 2 on don't feel obligated to answer everybody's questions. Answer the right ones. If you love this, send it out to 50 people. God bless.